Order tonight. I appreciate everybody coming out. I'd like to start tonight's meeting with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Jessica, would you like to do a roll call for us tonight?
Supervisor Ronald Rico.
Here.
Trustee Barbara Boyce.
Here.
Trustee Barbara Zanini.
Here.
Trustee Dean Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Greg Vickers.
Here.
Attorney Gary Newell.
Present.
And then we have absent Assessor Deputy Mason, Clerk Denise Romanchuk, Highway Commissioner John Slinsky, and Collector Elizabeth Howell.
Very good. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to start the meeting. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I apologize for the noise and everything going on next door. We have a wonderful play coming on next week, and they've been working diligently. But we'll go ahead and work with this workshop. First, I'm going to start out with citizens wishing to address the board. Gary, I want you to give the rules and regulations of our citizens wishing to address the board.
Just a reminder to everyone, the resolution was passed by the board a number of years ago. Please keep your comments to those items that are on the agenda. There are no derogatory statements, no inflammatory statements. We try to keep the time to about 3 minutes per speaker, not to exceed 30 minutes in total, to be monitored by Supervisor Albert.
All right, we'll start right out with the citizens wishing to address the board. I know there's a lot of discussion that people might want to address to this board. I would like to, like Gary had suggested, if there's one person that wants to speak for everybody, if it's all on the same subject, we can do that. But I'll open it up for citizens wishing to address the board.
So,
Well, I'm looking at the agenda, Ron.
Right.
Are we going to address the trash?
Well, that's what I want you guys to talk first, and then we'll close it off and we'll discuss it and we'll talk about it and as a trustees. And you guys comment first.
Okay, well, I know I have something to say.
All right.
I live in Fairmont.
Please, yeah, just state your name.
Okay, Delinda Harrod, President of Fairmont Community Partnership Group. I've been living in Fairmont for more than 45 years. My parents have been there 60 years. And in the past few years, our waste management trash services, they're not going down, they're going up. And I read the paper every day. You have Lockport under $22, you have Joliet under $22. Manuka, it looks like everybody's getting better trash services than we are. So what we've been trying to work with you, Ron, is to get you to put a vote to your trustees at the December meeting so that we can move forward with getting it on the ballot, so that we can let the voters vote for whether or not they want unified trash services or not. So that's why I'm here.
All right. And I know we've had a meeting and we've talked about it. And is there anybody else who would like to talk? We'll give their comments first before we discuss it amongst ourselves.
Are we going to be able to speak and comment afterwards, or is this the only time?
This would probably be the only time. I would like to keep it civil and get it done within a timely manner. So I will open it up for like a half hour for your discussions to give us your opinions as to what you want, and then we'll discuss it amongst ourselves and make sure everybody understands what you're asking.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. It was been brought to our attention, I'm Annette Parker, Will County Board. It's been brought to our attention as we've been attending the Fairmont community meetings that garbage has been an issue. It was referenced that the county is the reason why there is no garbage. So we looked into the reason, and many options were brought up that could be done for Fairmont or unincorporated Lockport Township to get garbage. So they were presented, and I think that's why we're here, to go over all the options of what we can do to get them a contracted rate for garbage service.
So then, as Annette Parker stated, there's more than one option. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Since there's not a lot of people stepping up, and I thought they would you like me to explain how I feel?
Yes, if I
As
get
a
a chance to
person?
explain how
Okay.
I feel after that.
All right. I know it's been talked about us, this board, voting to put a referendum on the ballot at our Monday, March, or December 11th meeting. I did a little research on that, and I put it in everybody's packet, what the law says. And I'll read it to you. The township board may make a contract that requires the declaration of a special refuge collection and disposal district. When this board does so, the board is to include in the annual budget and appropriations ordinance for the fiscal year the money to pay for the contract. We have to pay for the contract as a township. The money is gained by taxing the special refuge collection and disposal district itself. So that's basically saying that I'm going to create a new tax levy on the unincorporated areas of Lockport Township. The township may then adopt ordinance rules and fines related to the collection and final deposition of the refuge. So if we do this on the 11th, we're creating a tax levy, a new tax levy. Now, half of my trustees voted no to have any levy, let alone create a new one. So I don't feel, and I don't mean to speak out of turn, and they can speak for themselves, but I don't foresee this township trying to create a new tax levy. So I don't think that's the best way to go. I think it's a wonderful idea to have a referendum on the ballot. There's other options to do it. I've talked to Linda about some of the other options. The only downfall to the other options are we won't be able to do it in the March primary. We'll have to wait till the November because we need the time to get everything worked out. That's
why-
the only downfall. I'm sorry. To put the referendum on the ballot and get the question put on the ballot the way it was first explained to me, that the county would work with us and help us walk through this and get the bids, and we open the bids and do all that, then, and then the adjudication at the county would take care of the fining of people that don't pay their bills. In order to do that, we have to write the referendum to say that. And we can't do that as if we put it on. If the people put it on, then we can write the question any way we want to, I believe, right? Am I correct in that? So, in order to do it that way, the people have to get a number of petitions out there to sign it, to put the referendum on the ballot. The timetable to get that petition signed is, I believe, December,
If I could.
okay.
There are, just in terms of timelines, just to make sure everybody's aware. And I researched it, but also talked to the people at the county, just to make sure that the dates were right and the numbers are roughly right. There are really 5 options that you have. One is to do nothing. It's not the option you want, but I'm just telling you that's an option. Second is a voter petition. It has to be filed with the county clerk by December 18th, which is rather short, but we have until December 18th. The number of signatures works out to be 8% of the votes for governor in the last election for governor throughout the township. Generally speaking, when I talked to the county clerk's office today, they indicated there were 15,320 votes in the township for governor last time there was an election. If that's accurate, then 8% of that is 1,226 persons minimum have to be on that petition to then be presented to the county clerk by December 18th. Thereafter, the township board then needs to certify that ballot question by January 17th of 2018 to then get that on the ballot for March. That's option number 2. Option number 3 is board petition or action. They would need to pass a resolution by January 2nd, and then thereafter, the question would need to still be certified by the board and then presented to the county clerk by January 17th. The 4th option would be if there was a in essence, this isn't exactly the technical term for it, but in essence, you have an association that's created for garbage disposal. That would be if you didn't want to necessarily have it throughout all of the township. As Ron correctly pointed out, there are certain subdivisions or certain areas within the township that are already paying for some garbage disposal services. So if you were to do it township-wide, it's quite possible that then those same residents would get double billed, because they would get billed by whatever came through at the referendum, and then whatever their current agreement is, either with a waste haul company, with the association, or with, in those situations, there is a city that's actually working with some residents of the township. So there is, the fourth option is to create some type of association to address either specific areas of unincorporated Lockport Township. The final way is really if the electors were to choose at the next annual meeting, pursuant to paragraph 31 of the list of items that you could put onto the annual town meeting agenda. Number 31 suggests exactly what we're talking about now. So there are 5 different options. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew at least what those options are, and perhaps to provide some assistance as to the timeline for doing those things.
I got a question. Why can't the township, the county, and the garbage disposal people all come together about this? I mean, I understand the rules and regulations and all the timelines that you have to do this, but I know y'all self think it's unfair for certain communities, which is low-income communities already, having to pay double for gas. I mean, for garbage. It don't make no sense. Like you can take 3 blocks over and they paying cheaper. It's just like the zones and all of that stuff. I know y'all don't think it's fair, and then we have to keep going over this and over this and over this, and it's keep getting swept under the rug or keep getting pushed to the side. Like Ron's saying, we have to wait all the way until November. That means these people in this neighborhood still have to pay another whole year of double garbage,
Why do they do it in November?
and it don't make no sense.
Please also know that most of these options are still going to require a vote. So you're still going to then, even though it's on the ballot, doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to pass. So then work's going to have to get done to educate anybody who shows up either in March or November, to tell them why this is so important to do it, or why those who don't want to support it, why they shouldn't. So it's still, you're still putting it out to either the entirety of the Lockport Township electors, or if you do the association thing I mentioned, then it's whomever's in that particular area that sets up the association, and then you need to get at least a majority of those people. So in any case, it's not going to be simply these 5 elected officials agree with you and even do this. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's still going to have to be voted on by everybody, or whomever is going to be affected, to make that decision. So in any case, there's going to be some lag time and also some effort that needs to be made to make sure that you get the favorable result you want.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I heard you talk about.
Please state your name.
My name is Sylvia Dodson. I heard you talk about the tax levy. And I know, is it because the tax levy for incorporated and unincorporated Lockport is so different? I mean, I know they don't want to pay because I've spoken before and I've listened to people, and you know, our taxes are going to go up for that area. Is that the real reason? I mean, because I come to quite a few meetings, and everybody that talks about the taxes, they, you know, put us in that category like we're not worthy to have that, you know, because their taxes are going to go up. But meanwhile, we're being, you know, left out of the 21st century. We're still back in, you know, that's the feeling that I'm getting. I mean, I go to a lot of meetings and I hear a lot of talk, and those people down there, we don't want to pay the taxes, our taxes to go up because for those people down there.
I'm not quite sure if I understood exactly the statement, but I do want to. I want to make this a point. If this board was to put the referendum on the ballot at our meeting next month, the taxes would go up for all unincorporated Lockport Township, and all unincorporated Lockport Township would get garbage service. problem is, there's areas of Lockport Township that are unincorporated that already have garbage pickup through a homeowners association. We have Caroline on the north end of Lockport Township. They have a homeowners association, which is one of the options Gary brought up. They have garbage pickup there. If we tax, they would be paying twice. They'd be paying the tax for garbage collection, and they'd be paying the homeowners association for garbage collection. There's an area in Lockport, Bonnie Bray area, unincorporated, through an agreement through the city of Lockport. I don't know how they did it. It has nothing to do with the township, but they took over their water system and gave them garbage pickup. They are unincorporated. We would have to tax them that area also, and they would pay the city for garbage pickup, and they'd be paying a tax for garbage pickup. So those are the questions we would have to figure out, whether that's legal or, how to write the referendum within 2 weeks to get it on the ballot. And
Well, I don't think anyone would want to see anyone taxed twice.
So
I
if we
wouldn't
do
go along with
this,
that. So it seems like it should be a better way to write it, so that it
Right.
doesn't affect those people.
exactly, and that's what I've been saying. There's a better way to write it, but by law, we can't put it on the ballot, because if we put it on the ballot, it has to go by the whole law, and the whole law says we have to tax. If we go to the annual town meeting and the electors tell us to put it on the ballot, then we can fashion the question, the question on the referendum any way we want it, and we can exclude Bonnie Bray, any other areas that are already paying. That's why I've been saying, let's put it on the ballot. I love the idea. I don't want anybody in this room to think that I'm against the idea, and I don't believe my board is against this idea of getting garbage picked up for all unincorporated areas. I think it's a great idea, but we have to be very, very careful how we put it on the ballot, because once we do, we're going to get ourselves into a lot of lawsuits if we just throw this on there and start double taxing people, getting people paying twice. That's why I'm saying, let's get through this and let's put it in November, get it figured out right and do it right, and put it in November election. Let you fashion out the questions.
So you're,
I have a question.
I got a question back here. Please stand up and state your name.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, my name's Phil Mock. I have a question. When I'm reading the statute on this issue, it says that there's two different ways you can do it. One is with the tax levy, but the second way says you can provide in the contract that the users of the services shall pay costs directly to the service provider. That's under subsection 2, under 60 ILCS 1-210-15B2. When it talks about it, it says, yeah, you can have a tax levy, but you can do one, it says shall perform one of the following. Either you have the tax levy, or you can provide in the contract that the users directly pay to the provider. So you don't necessarily have to have the tax levy if you structure it that way. Of course, if there's a referendum where the citizens do it, they may choose to structure it the other way and make you have a tax levy, so you do have some control if you do it your way.
He's a lawyer.
I agree, if the people have a referendum and tell us to do it, at least it's the people telling us to do it, not us telling the people what we're going to do.
So can you just clarify, the only way to get it on in March is through a tax levy, is that what you're
That's
saying?
the way I'm understanding the law.
But that's not what he-
I have my book, my law book, and that's the way it states it in my book.
So the second option he just spoke about, why can't we go about it that way?
I'm not aware, is it legal?
Okay.
You know?
That's just like you were just saying.
Again, then you're giving me 2 weeks to get it all figured out if it's legal.
Okay.
What if
just like
it's
you were
not,
just
and
saying.
I'm wrong, and I get sued? We just, I don't want to put this township into a legal.
I just think that one of the things that we gotta be careful of is when it does get on the ballot, what happens if it doesn't pass? I know, obviously, there are plenty of people that want this done, but Fairmont isn't the only area that does not have garbage pickup. I'd like to find out through the clerk or how we can find out exactly how many people are not paying for garbage pickup through the township. So how many people are actually gonna vote on this? Would it be the whole township, or is it just gonna be the people that it's gonna affect? See, I'm in the, the city, so I have pickup through the city. 4 blocks from me, I spoke to a woman who, the street, North Street on the north end, some houses are in the city, some houses not. She is not. And like you said, she's paying 3 times as much for the same garbage service that I get, same workout. So I'd love to have it done as quick as possible, but I also don't want to see it fail on a ballot that, you know, kind of gets pushed through. I think, like Ron said, you know, I know it's another year. She pays every 3 months. You know, she pays, so that would be, you know, instead of March voting, push it to November. But like I said, I think there's information, and I don't know if we have that already. You know, as far as like how many, you know, if Fairmont were the only ones voting on this today, yeah, it would pass. But they're not the only ones. I know there's people on High Road, there's other areas. And I just don't know what the total voting pool would be, you know, and I'd hate to see rush into thing and something get voted down. I mean, that's just, you know, I know we got a lot more to discuss about it, but that's one of the things I'm worried about.
It ain't about that we're trying to rush into things. This stuff been going on for a long time.
Well, I've been on the board now for 2.5 years, and there was a little that I heard of prior to me coming to the board about getting estimates from these garbage pickups, you know, who would be the cheapest and stuff like that. And that was about all I heard of it. And then it just didn't happen. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know, like I said, this is the first, this has been brought to our attention that, you know, this is how we can do it. Do a referendum, get the people to go out. And I don't even know as far as like petitions, like if there's 5 residents in a house, could that be 5 signatures, or is it just?
It's voters. It's registered voters.
They gotta be registered voters in the house, so, you know, 1,200 sounds like not a lot, but maybe it, you know, it could be done.
I have one question. How did Bonnie Brae just out of the blue get included? Why can't Fairmont just get included how Bonnie Brae did? Like you just said when you spoke earlier, you said you don't even know if it's legal. Well, how is stuff like that going underneath the table without us not even knowing?
Well, I
The
think
city of Lockport took over the Bonnie Brae area because there was an advantage to the city of Lockport with their water district. They were trying to reach another section of incorporated Lockport with their lines, and they could go through the Bonnie Brae water system and connect in, and there was an advantage for the city of Lockport to do that. That's why, I believe that's why, and don't even quote me on that, I'm not sure, but this is the story I understand. I've talked to Lockport, I've talked to Joliet, they have no interest in doing that with Fairmont. You know, we've had it in writing that they were supposed to do that at one point in time, and they reneged on it. I can't force another entity to do something they're not gonna do. I have no control.
So who do we have to talk to get that done, or inquire about it?
You could talk to the city, go to their.
We come to y'all. We come to you. You know what I'm
I'm going
saying?
to the city though, they don't listen to me, maybe you guys can go to the city.
Okay, this is all I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here. We support y'all, right? We support you to get into the office. You're our voice.
Right.
So if we feel like if we trying to come to you and talk to you about things and they keep getting swept under the rug, it's like it's a no-win situation with us over here. We still stuck to what we got to stick to in Fairmont area. Stick to getting taxed for the water, getting taxed for the garbage, and we just keep getting taxed, and like we just gonna keep pushing it off, and we still paying into November. Like we saying, you got a lot of people that stay in Fairmont community that are elderly people. You know, they can't keep paying these high taxes. They won't have nowhere to stay.
I understand that, okay, I agree with you. And I've said right in the beginning that I want to get this done, and we're not going to sweep it under the table. I'm going to try to get this on the ballot. I'll work hard to get this on the ballot in November. I suggest that we come to the annual town meeting. We'll have Fairmont people out there, or any unincorporated people, any taxpayers that want this to go through. The majority rules. It's democracy. You ask the question. If the majority's there that wants it done, it'll pass, and we'll put it on a November ballot.
I think you're doing a disservice to your residents of unincorporated They have been waiting long enough for garbage. There's an option for you to pass a resolution, get it on the March ballot, and you're refusing to do so.
So you believe we should raise another tax?
No,
levy?
no, I
Go
don't.
to second option. let the
No,
man
there's
back
another
up.
option that you're not even.
Well,
Gary, could I ask you a question? So, if, from what I'm trying to understand here, is if they got the petitions together and got enough signatures, could they phrase the question or the proposal on the ballot that it would be taxed to the certain sections of Lockport Township rather than the entire Lockport Township or the entire unincorporated Lockport Township? Could they phrase that referendum in that manner that, so that it would be just affecting Fairmont, but they would be taxed as a community to pay for this agreement? But we would have to find out what the cost would be when we put it on the referendum, correct?
Plus the fact you could do, similar to what Mr. Moffitt mentioned, you could also put in there that if you're a user, then that's probably an easier way to do it, is that if you actually need the service and use the service,
You could opt
then you'll
in.
get billed. So then that way, we keep out those sections or subdivisions that already have it, so they won't get double billed.
So
So
it
that's
would,
gonna take about 1,226 signatures by December 18th.
well, I think they have a lot of motivated people. That they 1,200, I just went out and got a lot of signatures just recently, and there's so many community events going on. Would it be people from the Lockport Township as a whole you can get signatures
The
from?
Lockport Township registered voters.
Okay, so if they could phrase that, I think that might be the best option.
to be quite honest with you, though, I don't mean to interrupt. If you're gonna phrase the question, it should be all unincorporated Lockport, because people in other areas are paying triple too. I'm paying,
Would that would have the, you would have the option to, that way to start
Yeah,
letting.
just like the Phil.
you know, my bill is probably one of the highest of everybody's, to be honest with you.
All of Lockport Township would have the option to opt in. You wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a forced tax, it would be a fee that you would pay basically, and we would enter into an agreement at a lower rate than if they were entering into an agreement with Waste Management individually.
Or we could phrase the question that, like the original idea was, the county we would bid this, we would open the bids, and the garbage disposal companies would send out the bills and collect the bills.
And that's what the second option is.
That's
That is the
what
second
we're
option.
talking
That's
If
what,
we can
that
go
is
somebody-
That
for
has to
March.
be- That question has to be put on through a referendum
No.
through the people.
No.
That's my law.
It's gonna still have to be opposed.
That's what Phil stated.
Yeah, you're still gonna have to.
You would have to tell them that they would be billed directly.
Right.
But
Right,
you're still
so
gonna
you tell them
have-
that up
We have
front.
two lawyers here who have two different opinions.
You still need
and
to
I
have
think
a
if you have
vote.
seven lawyers, you'll have seven
No,
different.
Phil and I are still on the same page.
Yeah, no, there's.
Even if you did it that way, there still has to be on the ballot referendum vote. So either way.
So the board could actually put a referendum on the ballot that states exactly what the people are asking.
Instead of having to wait all the way until
Is it-
November, we'd rather do that by March.
The way that's suggested, as long as you make it.
I understand that, but it doesn't, it's not clear to me, and from
Right.
the other gentleman's reading,
We're gonna need
I
another-
can't,
Yeah, we're gonna need many more workshops if we're gonna try to crank that out for January
When the
2nd.
board does so, the board is to include an annual budget and an appropriations ordinance. That's a levy.
well, if we're not gonna be paying for it, why would we need it? The levy would be zero.
We're gonna charge all the users.
Since we're
Law
gonna
that
charge
I'm
the
reading,
users.
the law
I
that-
understand that.
And this is the law that's in the book.
I'd have to see what Phil's got. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where that law comes from, but
The other thing is that they want it to be more product and fancy. That's what they could do, their own association.
association.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, sir.
I don't have the entire,
Do you have an extra copy?
I'm doing the book that we just gave you.
Oh, that, yeah, leave that.
Yeah.
But we're just
This is
looking at
out
this.
of the state.
Right, but when he's voting.
Right, that's all I'm saying. We vote for him and he doesn't know.
Of the unincorporated areas, while he's looking at that, I just want to bring to a point from Dean's what he was talking about. There's approximately about 1,102 houses in Fairmont, houses. In the rest of the unincorporated areas, as an estimate, I got two Fairmont. Okay, that's 2,000. There's two Fairmont lines on here. 1,009, 1,102. So let's say there's 2,300 houses. The rest of the area comes to a total of 5,451 houses. So it's about a third of the houses are in Fairmont, of the unincorporated areas. Approximately. And these are
people without coverage.
these are people in unincorporated Lockport Township that aren't in the city of Lockport, Crest Hill, or Romer.
So 5,000.
5,451 approximately. I'm not saying these are exact. I got this through our assessor's office.
Well, I appreciate what Phil has presented, but the next section of this then talks about, similar to what you were talking about, Ron, it then says that there has to be an annual budget appropriation ordinance. Whenever the township board makes a contract under this article, which includes the refuge contract, it requires the declaration of a special refuge collection disposal district. The board shall include in the annual report and appropriation ordinance for each fiscal year an appropriation of the sum of money to be derived from taxation extended upon the special refuge collection and disposal district, sufficient to pay whatever the amount is for the contract.
So we would be creating another
So that at least in this same section that mirrors what Mr. Mock has presented, or is the next section of that, it says that you have to take into account what the appropriations are. I don't know what that means in terms of a contract with a disposal company. I don't know if the disposal company is going to simply say, yes, I'm willing to contract with, in essence, however many residents there are in unincorporated Lockport Township. Because that's in essence what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to have however many contracts there are, let's say there's 5,000 homes, they'll in essence have 5,000 contracts. So that then if you don't pay your bill like you're supposed to, now iRefuge company have to deal with you.
No.
Well,
I'm
here's
sorry,
the
that's
deal.
exactly
There's a
what it
lot
said.
of legal questions to be asked and figured out. I know he's an attorney. We have an attorney here, and like they always say, if you have 7 attorneys, you'll have 7 different opinions. There's a lot of questions to be asked, and things, and I don't think we're going to get these all answered by the 11th, our next meeting. That's why I'm saying let's get this figured out. Let's go to the annual town meeting with this question and put it on the November ballot so we can have it put to the ballot the right way and we know we're legally doing it right. I don't want to put this township into a legal lawsuit. I don't want to do that. Yes. Please state your name.
It's Dean Olson. I work for the county. I'm basically the solid waste director. It's resource recovery and energy for the record. But I just wanted, Annette was saying, would you please mention what happened in Homer Glen? All right, what happened in Homer Glen? Okay, so what happened in Homer?
So the city.
Yes, the city or village, whatever they're called.
Yeah, right.
All right, so many years ago, whenever they incorporated, they needed to get some garbage service. So Marta Keene, our recycling specialist, she helped them with a bid. And they bid it out, and they got garbage, recycling, landscape waste, and they even got a cut on the recycling. Whatever was made got put into an environmental fund, and then they could use it for whatever they wanted. They actually pay us to do special collection events for them on every other year basis, basically. So what I want to say to you as the board is if this passes, okay, whatever way you do it, you know, whether it's a resolution, you guys decide here as a board, and then you can put it on by January 2nd on the March ballot, or obviously you have other ways you want to do it. We are here to help you, okay? I don't want you to feel like you can't rely on the county to help you through this process. In other words, we're here to help. We want to help these residents Fairmont, we have a plan, we want to help them. There's a number of things we're helping them with. Garbage is one of them. We have an agreement with the EPA. We spend about, I'm just going to guess, but at least 30% of our time on Fairmont. For the whole county, on garbage problems, burning, that kind of thing. And so we want to help this area. We want to help your township. So please, we're here, okay? That's all I'm saying. It's your decision. You guys decide which way you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, whatever. But I do believe these folks would like to see you try it at least and see if the vote would come up in their favor. I think the resolution option is just a majority of whoever votes. I don't think you need to do the petitions. That's my understanding when I was just talking to Phil just now. So, you know, in other words, you put the resolution out there, comes up in March, and say 1,000 people vote. Well, if 501 want it, then it is, you know. Now, as far as this annual budget and whatever, I suppose if you're going to charge a tax for it, then you'd have to have a budget. But, you know, or if you take the other option and you say whatever waste company is doing, you know, the service, you have them bill the resident directly, then I don't think you're in the middle of this anymore. I think, yes, you may have to have something. I don't know what the rules are for that. Maybe there's some sort of fund you'd have to have. But again, we are here to help you, okay? So whatever way, I just don't want you to feel like we're not here to help. We want to help you, so.
My main point of clarification on Mr. Olson is this. Homer Glens, a city or municipality, it's totally different and the rules are totally different.
I'm just telling you what we did for them. That's all I'm saying.
I don't,
What's that?
I'm sorry, Ms. Parker?
Wheeling Township does the same.
Okay.
Another township.
The example was given of Homer Glen, which is
I agree.
a municipal entity.
That was just your closest.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's, Homer Glen's actually a village or municipality, city, therefore the rules are different than it is for a township. If Wheatland is able to do it, I absolutely agree with you, we can look to them. We don't need to recreate a wheel if we can talk to them and find out what they.
Okay.
That's all we ask.
All right, we're way over our time limit. I'm going to have one more question. Go ahead. Please state your name, or not question, your statement. We're not here to debate.
My name is Betty Bird, and I've lived in Fairmont for over 50 years. Nothing much has changed. I hear about Bonnie Bray, and they don't want to be double taxed. I hear about, what was the township that you, Homer Glen. Those kids come to Lockport, okay? I've heard about, well, what Lockport wanted, and you weren't here at that time, but what Lockport wanted, they wanted to bring Bonnie Bay in because, you know, everybody is helping. Lockport has to get something out of what is going on. And obviously, it's a thought that the Fairmont community can't do anything for us. So we're just gonna leave them out there. Now, you said these people, they would be double taxed. We already know that a referendum with these outlying territories, it's not going to pass because they have what do you call them, within the township, they have things that they have to do. So they have to follow those rules within their township. Okay, they would be double taxed. We're being taxed for nothing. I know my money's got to go somewhere. We've been without garbage for more than 50 years that we have to pay every 3 months this high amount. I was paying it when I was young, and I'm paying it not now that I'm old. When we elect officials, we elect those officials to try to help us. Maybe you haven't heard from us before. I know you've heard from me, I know you've heard from my husband, but the fact still remains is that elected officials are supposed to come up with some way to help their constituency. And it seems as though Nobody wants anything for the Fairmont community but the Fairmont residents. People are moving out. We have more people, of course, that are moving in. Those people don't know what's going on. Some are bilingual, some are not. Some are here legally, some aren't. So they're not going to talk to you.
That's right.
Okay, I found that out myself by doing things at the school. But nevertheless, we're still a people. We still want and we deserve everything that other communities have. And that's all I need to say. If you're an elected official, then you're supposed to see what you can do for your constituency. And I don't care if they're Bonnie Bray or Homer Glen, where the $400,000 million homes are. We're still people. We want the same things that other people have. And we need help to do it. Now, you may not have heard from us. There may not have been people here. And maybe that's why you say, well, they don't care. So we're just not going to tackle that. I remember a statement that you made, Mr. Alberico, when we were talking about the lawsuit. And you said, I wasn't here then. So, you know, I remember having a job and I came in behind somebody else's mess. And my boss said, if you want the job, you find out how to clean up that mess. And that's what we're expecting from you. Everybody has to come in behind somebody else. Everything. Oh, well, I wouldn't do it this way. You know, I wouldn't do it this way. And so you got to find a way to try to help the Fairmont community so that we can get on with our lives and don't have to fight people every day of our lives. That's your responsibility as you know, city whatever. Everybody that's elected, it is your job to help your constituency by any means necessary and not continue to make it more difficult for us. I'm finished.
Appreciate your opinion. All right, yeah, I'll let you. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate everything you said there. And like I said, not trying to hide anything from anybody, but like I said, I've been here 2.5 years, and obviously, you know, with us being here and talking about this, and we're gonna decide one way or the other, this is gonna get either put on the ballot in November or put on the ballot in March or at a town meeting. We are trying to do something, okay? Like I said, I don't know, I don't wanna say, you know, the boards before us or anything, or if they had the same options, but here we are at this point, trying to move forward and trying to do something. So, you know, I don't know exactly how it's gonna turn out, but like I said, that's why we're here. We're here to listen to you, and we're here to make a decision, and hopefully it turns out and benefits everybody in Fairmont and everybody in the unincorporated area. So, you want to say that?
All right.
Once again, Ron, the fastest and easiest way might be for whatever community is interested to create its association. That can be done relatively promptly. Then you keep those people who are most affected, the ones who are then dealing with the situation right away. That can be done as fast as probably 2 months. Then you're not dealing with anything in March or anything in November, and you're also not dealing with those persons who are not necessarily interested in the concerns of other persons within the township.
Gary, how would that be done?
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, I was gonna ask That's creating a homeowners
Because in essence, it would be very similar to creating a homeowners association, where you would simply have an association of residents within a particular area. For example, Fairmont community would have a Fairmont community sanitary district or something like that. You create a corporation, a not-for-profit corporation, which is done relatively promptly and inexpensively. Most attorneys could probably create that within 2 hours, and you file it, and you're available that day. then it's a matter of then having a vote amongst all the people first before, I'm sorry. You have to present that to everybody, get a vote of majority to then be able to create it. Once it's created, then you go back out to everybody and say, we're gonna go out and get bids for 5 or 6 different waste haulers. Get the bids from all of them. Those haulers are gonna ask very specific questions like, how many residents do I have? How many houses do I have? How often do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do recycle or not? Same kind of questions that any municipality would get or anybody else would get. You go through all those questions with your 5 or 6 other contractors that you bid out. They would then give you a bid. The group then votes on which one they want. Then you have a contract between the association, district, whatever you want to call it, and that waste hauler directly. And you're up and running as soon as you can get the district created and you get your bids and you approve a bid.
Who would start that process?
That would be the residents within, in this case, the residents within Fairmont. or whatever other groups would want to
They
do.
can create their own homeowners
So it
association.
never goes on for referendum then?
It doesn't have to, then you deal with the people who are all there. You're gonna have to notify everybody based upon the, whatever perimeters you want for that particular district.
And that would be,
That'd be the quickest.
that would be a non-governmental solution.
That's why you can do it, and it's all on your own, and they're in control. And they, actually, they may be able to get a better term within their contract because it's specifically to them. One of our hangups is gonna be, if it's the township being involved in the bidding process, we don't wanna have the same issue we have with the water issue. So we're not gonna have contracts that extend beyond the term of the board. So right now, contract, if we got it approved, would be like 2 years. And we're gonna do this again for another 4 years. And you're gonna always have to be
Going over.
reopened.
So they just form a board then?
All right, I'd like to close now the discussion of the citizens wishing to address the board. Appreciate your time. I
Do you have
really,
another comment? I just was, oh, she had a comment.
Well, I mean, you know, some research has been done on the homeowners association, and I'm reading here that if we were to go that route, the homeowners association would have to send and collect trash bills, pay the haulers, I understand negotiate the contracts. And I understand we would also need bylaws, and we would probably require some legal counsel that can become very costly. So, I mean, even though he said what he said, it's really not a great option for us.
why not, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know, how would we be set up in such a way that we could collect trash bills every month?
Well, you could, homeowners association, I believe, would be able to put it into contract with garbage haulers that they send out the bills and they collect the money.
Exactly. Make it part of your contract.
Make that part of your contract. That's, I believe that's the way the Joliet and most cities do it.
I know that, I live in Lennox, I know that that's what they do. I get a bill right from
The legal part, you would probably need a lawyer to help set it up. I believe we have lawyers in this county that might be able to do it pro bono. Mr. Mock might be able to do it pro bono. Or Gary.
Can't practice law.
Mr. Mueller might be able to do it pro bono.
So, let's say we kind of discussed this at a meeting, at our Fairmont meeting. And when we mentioned the homeowners association, most of the room was not on board with that. So let's say we go back to plan A or B with you. It sounds like you're saying the next best option, since it doesn't look like it's gonna happen by the December 11th meeting, that the next best option is to wait until April and allow you to put it on the vote for the town hall meeting.
If you're patient enough with me on that, I'm all for it, like I said. I think this board would be all for that too. And we will work. I'd love to have the county work with us on that option too. Let's give us some, I don't want to rush into anything and do something wrong. That's what my biggest fear is. I was unaware that Mr. Mock thinks we can do it without a tax. Until half hour ago. So what I would really like to do.
Will he do it pro bono for us? The man right here in the brown suit?
That would be his decision.
That's what I'm saying. We're asking. See, it's a
We'll talk
joke.
later. No, it's really not, man. It's really not. The amount of time it will take for an attorney is gonna be probably between 30 and 40 hours.
Yeah, but do you care about the Fairmont community to do it pro bono?
Well, ma'am, what I would like to do is to find out if that's what your group wants to do. This young lady who's the president of the Association for Fairmont says that that's not gonna work. So I'm gonna need to have some direction from your community saying that they're even willing to do it. Because if you're not willing to do it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for you guys to spend any time and effort, or me. quite honestly. No, actually, ma'am, I think it's the truth. The president of your association said she didn't think that that's gonna
But I was
pass.
just asking, if we decide to do it that way, would you do it pro bono for us?
Well, what I would ask you, please, is to get to that point where you can tell me that, yes, I've got the group, the association, something they want to do. I'm not going to commit to you and lie to you and tell you, yep, I'll do the 40 hours worth of work that's going to take, and then you're not going to even end up having it happen. I'm not going to do that.
All right, thank you very much for your comments and everything. Is there any discussion here between us that we want to discuss? I don't know how, I can tell you the way I feel. I don't believe it'd be a good thing. I think we'd be rushing into a referendum that I'm not sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, commas are there. I want to make sure what we're doing is right. I don't want to rush into and get ourselves into a lawsuit from different communities, taxing, if we have to create a tax. I don't like creating taxes. I can't believe that there's people in this room that would even be able to say with a straight face they want us to create another tax after everything I've heard for the last, my adult life has been lower taxes. So that's my feeling. I want to do it. I would like to do it at the annual town meeting. I think that'd be the best, easiest way. It doesn't create petitions. It's a simple majority there, and we'll fashion the question. We can fashion it any way we want, where the contractors bill and collect, and the county will work with us. I know the county has said they will work with us 100%. It gives us a little breathing room. It gives us time to get out to the people and push this idea, and hopefully we can get it passed. That's my opinion. Does anybody else want to speak?
I've got one option that may, I'm trying to just brainstorm here as far as, if they were to form an association, and it would be a not-for-profit association, correct? We do give some money to not-for-profits throughout the community. I think this would be something that we could give them some seed money to help them out to get started, especially in the beginning. They're putting things together, writing bylaws. That's going to be where most of the attorney work would be. If the township could give them some seed money, at least, you know, there we could find a fund. Maybe, I'm not sure what the laws are as far as going to that type of a not-for-profit, but that would be something, would be an option for us, maybe.
It would be a board decision.
Yeah.
But I mean, that, we
But
probably
she's
could
saying-
find a fund that has some available funds to help, at least give them some seed money to get started, you know.
If that's the direction they want to
Yeah,
go.
and they, I would ask the citizens to come back to us with some sincere, you know, a group of citizens and say, hey, maybe get some signatures and say, hey, we're looking to put this association together. If we can get some money to start it out, that would be a way for you guys to really take some action and get started on it. I'm not trying to put it off the township, but that would be the fastest way to get things done.
Can I say something to that? Okay, Ron told me before, like, when they've done the whole water system, you know, Joliet didn't want to deal with Fairmont, Lockport didn't want to deal with Fairmont, so Joliet moved out of it, so it was pushed on to Lockport. That's what I feel like how y'all saying right now about the association. Yeah, go ahead and be an association, so Lockport ain't got to deal with y'all now.
Yeah.
We ain't, listen, we ain't asking for a handout here. We just asking y'all to help. If y'all over us, if y'all got control over Fairmont community, help. Don't keep hindering. That's all we asking.
That's my suggestion was to help and get it done as quickly as we could. It wasn't in any way trying to push you off. If we could get it put on the ballot, if we can get it put on the ballot with a referendum and get it put together, that would be the best option. But I don't know if that's possible to get done.
Well, sounds like we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board
It
because.
is gonna take some community response to get any of the balls moving, other than the township just putting something on the ballot.
I mean, tonight was a whole bunch of new information given to us.
Yes.
Okay, like to make a decision, I mean, there's 5 options from what we heard. You're kind of indicating to us that you're not quite sure what your board, the direction would want to go, if they're gonna have to be doing all the legwork. And you shouldn't be having to do all the legwork. Like the gentleman said before, we are here to represent you. If the majority of you want to move ahead with this, again, with all the new ideas, I like the suggestion the supervisor had made for the town hall meeting. That would probably be the proper way to do it, but again, what month is that? April. In April. I mean, to expedite this as quick as we can, we just were throwing a whole bunch of new information to us this evening. So, to make a decision on which direction to go, you have to think. You can't do it right now.
We just thank y'all for just listening, period.
Again, I really want to thank everybody, and believe me, I like the idea, I just want to do it correctly. I'm gonna be trying to get the education out there for the people, and we will try to get it on the November. We'll do it at the annual town meeting, we'll put the question on there, I'll have our attorney help fashion the question, so it's out to the eyes, make sure we got it right. Let's get this thing done. I do want to get it done. I just don't want to go into this crazily blind and get it done by next month, in 2 weeks, so we can pass it. And we wouldn't know if everything's done right. We have all the questions of the Bonnie Gray area, the Carolina areas, how that works into it. Let's do it, let's get it done right. And quit rushing into things. You rush into things and haphazardly, we're gonna have to do it again. And we have a lawsuit that lasts 20 years. So, okay, anybody else before I go on to the next agenda item? All right, thank you, and thank you. Next on the agenda is you want to take a minute? If you guys are all going to leave, or you're welcome to stay. You don't have to leave. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Lockport. I had a discussion with Ben Benson last week about, I was in his office on the other business. I just basically asked him, hey, would the city of Lockport be willing to help us while our lot here until we can get something figured out with the truck? I think it's important that we get out on the truck anyway. He said, well, we can probably work something out. He talked to his people in the city. He called me back and said, we could work something out. All we need is a letter, agreement letter between us and the city that we're not going to hold them liable for anything that happens if they hit a car or something like that. And I told Gary, go ahead and put something together real quick. He put this intergovernmental agreement together that everybody received in their packet. I did tell the city of Lockport that we probably, I wasn't going to ask for the world, so I said, middle of January, I'd love it. And he said, well, we can do it till about the middle of January. Gary did put the referendum, or the question ending in February 28th. I thought that was over asking for a favor, so I asked him to redo it. He's got a new one that says January 31st, so, which he thought was okay, and I thought that was good, and I wanted to get that approved tonight. Just at the last minute, before after I left the office, and the secretary called me while I was on my way home and said she just received this letter from TOI, which is the insurance company, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's kind of a lawyery.
Oh, yeah.
But basically she said Torma would like to see this verbiage in the contract. So I asked Gary tonight, just before the meeting, I said, can you work something out, get this in the verbiage in there somehow? And what I would like to do tonight is, so we don't have to have another meeting, if Gary could get this worked out and the city agrees to it, Torma agrees to it, and I agree to it, I want to sign this and send it over to the city so they can sign it and get this done, so if any snow flies between now and we get a truck, we'll have our things plowed out for free.
The proposed paragraph that was just sent to Ron late today, which is paragraph number 5 on this one-page sheet, is actually going to be replacing our paragraph 5. So it's going to, that will make it so that it's specifically between the city and the township as opposed to what's proposed, which talks about a highway department, whatever.
Yeah.
So just so you know where it will go, it would go right where the current paragraph 5 is on my proposed intergovernmental agreement on page 2.
That's coming off then.
That will then come off, and I will replace it with a modified paragraph 5 from the one-page sheet that came from Torma.
I just have one quick question. So for clarification, back to, if by chance, plow truck does hit a vehicle out on this lot, they are not held
I'm
liable?
not sure exactly what they're,
Correct. What would happen is that our insurance, Torma, which is why we're gonna use their language, because they've asked us to do that, then Torma would then step in.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
do you feel the city would be agreeable to it?
Well, guaranteed, if it's by the city, then it just reconfirms that I have no liability.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Gary Fashionette, you said you might be able to get that to me by Monday, or?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll sign it and send it over to the city. I don't believe it really needs approval because there's no monetary issue here. You know, it's
Sounds like a
basically,
good solution.
But we just wanted to at least tell the board that that's on.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and, I really wanted to bring this to your attention, just to be, so you guys know what the heck I'm doing over here all the time, and not doing things behind your back. Next on the agenda is, I have looked into some trucks to get here. I should have done this. I blame myself. This should have been done before the snow starts flying. But we do need a vehicle here. We have 2 employees that, are maintenance guys that every time they need to run to Menards to pick something up, they're using their personal vehicles. And that shouldn't be. We've had to borrow tables on a few occasions from the Park District for different things going on in here. We've had to use our personal trucks to go get them. That's a liability on the township. We need a vehicle. We have to have something. So I did, I thought the best thing to do would be, I talked to John at the Highway Department and asked his opinion, and the foreman over there, and they were trying to talk me into a dump truck. The littlest 1-ton dump truck would be good, because that, can tilt, they can load the sand in there, they can get us a spreader, and it, be heavy enough to push the snow. That's a good idea. It's probably about 2 times, 3 times as much as this truck. And my thought is, hopefully, with any luck at all, we're only going to be snow plowing this driveway 4 or 5 times a season. With any luck at all. The other times, we can use a pickup truck easy. If we got to throw chairs on there, got a pickup truck. Tables, we've got to move tables. If we have to run up to Menards to get whatever, we need a lawnmower or something like that, it's not putting it up on a dump truck as opposed to, so I think a F-250 would be that accountable truck. It's, this one, the one I gave you in your packet was a 2-wheel drive, and actually, after I looked at it and went through it a little better, the price of this one was what was it? That was $20,596. But that was a 2-wheel drive, and the options that you can add to it is in, actually it's the 3rd page, and about 3 down under options of powertrain, 4x4, included electronic shift on the fly. It's an extra $3,300 or $3,333. I did talk to the dealer there, and he said it'd probably be a wise idea to put on the one right underneath it, the limited slip axle. That's basically the lockouts. So if you do get stuck in snow, you can just go out there and lock it out. It kind of gives it posi traction, if you remember the old verbiage.
Are you looking at the old vehicle or the new
Yeah, that's
vehicle?
basically the old vehicle. So I did tell him that, and he said, well, I'll send you out another proposal, and this is the other proposal, and it came to $2,600 and $26,380. So it's about $6,000 more, but this has the lockouts, this has the four-wheel drive, and this also has the spreader. I asked him to give me the quote on the salt spreader.
So it includes spreader and the plow?
Not the plow.
Not the plow. It does say something about putting the equipment in the front to accept the plow and all the wiring to go to the inside, but not the plow, because John also indicated that he has a couple plows down at the highway department that would fit the truck, and we could have those.
Okay,
So we would have to buy the plow.
okay.
So
How
I'd like
old,
to.
how old is the plow that
The
John has?
plows, they're old, but they're just plows, and you said they're in good condition,
But they'll fit a new truck, that's why I'm
We'll have to, it might cost a little money to get the fitted right,
asking. Okay.
so I don't wanna say this is a total cost, but I'm sure if it takes a little bit, $500 to get it, to accept that plow, it's better than buying a plow, brand new, and doing it, so, I would like to make a proposal that we vote on this tonight, so I can get that
It's a brand new
contract
truck,
going.
right?
Yes,
Brand new.
Brand new truck.
2017, yeah.
Yeah. It will be, they do it through the, I'm not sure what their company is called, but it is pre-bid through the government, so they do all the bidding process and do all that, and this is their final price. So,
Where's the money gonna come from for this truck?
I will take it out of, I meant to do that, look at my line items, it'll come out of renovation, so, for the building. It's, I have it split between, senior and town. We have money in both of those that are way capable of paying it. It's for the building, it's for the renovation of the building, keep up the building. So, if anybody would like to entertain, I'll make the motion that we go ahead and purchase the truck.
I'll second it.
I got a second. Any discussion? Have a roll call.
Albright.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Morale.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Vickers.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. I'll get that ordered just as soon as I can. And I asked them to do it in red, so it matches our highway trucks. So they'll all be, all the same, unless somebody has a real issue with changing the color out. All right, I don't think I have anything else tonight. I appreciate your patience with this issues that we're having right now. Is there anything else anybody else wants to bring up? Hearing none, I would entertain an adjournment.
Well,
Oh,
Oh, not yet, hold on.
we didn't really, after they left, we haven't made a decision what we're gonna do as far as the garbage pickup goes over there. It seemed like we kinda left it when they left. It
well,
was,
it's,
Are
I
they
guess-
gonna come back to us and?
well, I guess the options are, we could, if you feel strongly enough about it, you want me to instruct Gary to put a referendum together to be passed at our next meeting, then we're gonna create a tax, I think.
right, like we said, it's gonna take a couple more workshops to work through the referendum.
Yeah, so I don't believe,
Because quite honestly, I don't want to be the one who takes a stab at that without you guys seeing it. I want you guys to see exactly what we're gonna come up with.
Well, do you think they were okay, like just waiting for the referendum for April? I know the one guy was in there,
But the whole, you can't go by with just a small group of people,
Yeah,
I
we're
understand.
talking-
I know, so are more people, are we gonna have a workshop, or
well,
when do you decide what we're gonna do?
I think what we need to do is, I will reach out to Linda and talk about the question. If they're comfortable with me, with Gary trying to put a question together for the April annual town meeting, I will have Gary kind of put it together. I'll have them included in the question, when we put this question together.
How would that work, Gary?
You know.
I mean, so somebody would bring that up, or that would already be on our agenda for the town meeting?
Typically what happens is that someone will send a letter to you guys saying, I want this to be on the agenda for the annual town meeting, and it's usually at least the 1 month before the town meeting, and then you say, all right, we'll put this on the agenda. And then what we've done in the past is that then that gives the board a month to then figure out if there's a resolution required, an ordinance required, whatever that is. So that at the annual town meeting, we hand it out to everybody so they can see, here's the resolution ordinance that we're considering, and we have a discussion about that, and hopefully that discussion goes well, and they like it that way, or they can ask you to change it or revise it, and you get a majority vote of people, and then it gets revised. That's usually how it's done. If the board says that we're gonna, we the board, because any one of you could certainly put something on the agenda as well. You tell us now, which is more notice than we ever get, that we're gonna have this on the agenda for the annual town meeting, then we can start working on it now. You can have a couple of workshops between now and April.
Get the resolution figured out, I'll
And
work with
figure out what
the
that
county
is.
to help get their
That's what it
inputs.
would be a resolution.
Correct.
And it would be.
It'd be a resolution at the annual town meeting, put a referendum in the
Right.
November.
But see, the part of the resolution, though, what I would suggest the board consider is that we would want it to be as specific as we can. So that then the electors know exactly what we're doing and why. So it's gonna be, this resolution could be a number of pages long. Because one of the things I think you're gonna find is we gotta tell them, simply part of what they just talked about. You know, are we gonna have it be where you're gonna try to bid it so that the contractor bills everybody? Is it gonna be what Ron was told months ago, that the county would allow it to be billed and they collect it, which I didn't hear them say that again.
No,
tonight.
no, what they're proposing, the county, just so I got it clear, they're proposing that the referendum would state that the contractors will bill
Mhm.
and collect the money. The people that don't pay their bills on time, you know, because there's gonna be people that don't pay their bills, they will bring that into their county board, land use department, under their adjudication system. It'll be like, if you don't cut your weeds and you get the county comes and fines you, and you go to argue with them, they make a judgment whether you have to pay it or not. But they would take care of the people that aren't paying their bills.
Are they sure they really wanna do that?
They said they would.
Because unlike cutting your grass and stuff, which is pretty much you against your weeds, the disposal contract, that's really the contractor who's not getting paid. Not the county, not township.
That's what the county's promising me, so I said, I'm all for that.
And I don't doubt you, that's what they said. I will be happily surprised if, when we get this all done, if they say, sure, we'll do the adjudicative hearings and then do the appeals when people don't like the decision, which is you have to pay that and a hearing and a fine.
I mean, wouldn't it be, like, if they don't pay the bill, then they just don't pick up their garbage? I don't know, I mean.
If I'm a contractor, I'm thinking that's how I would do it, but then, and then I guess the county would then come in, I guess, and say, I'm sorry, Mr. Morelli, you have, 5 weeks worth of garbage on the side of your house, get rid of it. If you don't, we're gonna fine you, I guess.
I don't know, I'm just saying, obviously, like I said, there's people who are not gonna want this anyway, whether or not it passes, whatever case may be, so, that situation is probably gonna come up one or the other, whether the county's gonna take care of it and or the garbage service themselves. Like I said, I just wanna stay out of it as far as the township.
Right.
We don't wanna get involved with collecting their bills or, any kind of that stuff.
No, the county's kind of, and actually Dean indicated tonight that they're willing to work with us and that they want to do the health aid. They're, every time I mentioned something about them collecting or doing the adjudication, I saw him nodding his head yes. So I believe they're.
And my only concern is that I'm concerned if the education isn't done and the work isn't done, we're gonna have an election here in November. So there's gonna be more people show up in November than in March. And if this doesn't go through, then they're back to creating a sanitary district or something. Or they're gonna, I guess.
We gotta
maybe
follow
like
the
school
law, we
district.
gotta follow the
Yeah,
referendum.
unless they do like the
Goes
school
down.
district and they just keep.
Well, that's
trying.
again, that's why I'm kind of big on November, so we can get out there and educate the people. I think it's pretty quick time to get here, educate all these people on unincorporated.
I'd be afraid it wouldn't pass.
Well, April's gonna be here before,
Yeah.
the appropriate place to start it is at the town hall meeting.
Yeah.
I think so.
I
That's the
agree with you.
easiest.
I absolutely agree
The
with you.
other way they can do it
As if they formed.
with the petitions.
Right,
You know,
and I don't
they,
think they really.
they don't want to do the work of getting petitions.
Well, especially with realistically, next Wednesday is when it's supposed to start snowing. Maybe easier to get 1,200 signatures between now and Wednesday than it's gonna be between
Yeah.
next Wednesday and.
Well,
Pick a
it's
day.
already been indicated to me that they don't want to walk around and get petitions signed. They told me.
Well, maybe you
I
can
said
ask
that'd
her.
probably be the best way.
Yeah, well,
They don't want to do the work.
So do we
I
need
did
to
say that
give
there's gonna need to be some community activism to get it
education,
done.
right?
Yeah, to not only get
But
on the
my
ballot,
biggest
but to get
thing
passed.
is I want the people to tell this board that they want their garbage picked up, not the board putting a referendum on it saying, this is what we think you should do.
So do we give you direction tonight to get it on the, for the town hall meeting on the agenda?
I don't think it needs
A
to
month
be,
ahead.
I think, you know.
You could do that right now.
Oh, we
you can do
can?
that, yeah, if
You
you
can do
want
that right now. and then
Do we
could-
do it or do they do it?
Well, honestly, you guys as residents of the township, any one of you can send a letter to the
Right,
board
yeah.
and say, please put this on the agenda for the annual town meeting. Or any other resident could do the same thing.
I will work with Belinda, I would like it to
Yeah.
come from
Okay.
Yeah.
the Fairmont
All right.
Community Partnership.
All right.
And unless, you know, somebody else wants to do it, I don't care, but I
Well,
think
so
it'd be
it's
good
coming from her,
them.
so
Yeah.
Let them,
It doesn't
and I
have to
will
be
work with,
15
like I said, I think it's a good
It has to be
idea.
at least 15 people.
I love the idea of garbage pickup
Or it
in
could be a board.
county or
Not
township
right,
wide.
But if he does it with
Right.
Belinda, it's gonna
And
be.
this will give us time to fashion the ordinance that says Bonnie Bray doesn't have to be involved in it. Caroline doesn't have to be involved in it. We can fashion it that way. I don't think we could fashion it that way if we do
No.
it.
And then the other, two other quick points, and I'll quit talking. One is that we're also gonna have to fashion it so it says, if for some reason, City of Lockport or City of Joliet just walks away from Bonnie Bray, then they have to have the ability, then they have to understand, you're gonna get, you can actually opt in, or
The whole
Caroline.
community
They see-
has to.
Yeah, they see what the cost is that the board and the community is able to negotiate. If that's lower than Caroline's not in love with doing their own garbage, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And if this could be cheaper somewhere else, they'll opt out too. The other thing Jessica pointed out, she's absolutely right. Please remember, if it's any one of the board members, you guys can put something on the agenda because you're a board member. If it comes from a registered voter in the township, an elector, they need 15 names. It's gonna have to be, the president of the association.
I think Belinda would get 15
Well,
names.
She'll need to get at least those. just so you know.
Again, I think it would be nice to have it come from the association. I will suggest that to her, and I'll go get the 15 names for her.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the problem.
Right.
But I just would like to the letter come from the association.
So
But,
then just,
you know,
and then a final point of clarification, so then the boards would prefer it to be through the annual town meeting as opposed to, let's try to crank this out for either 1,226 electors to get on a petition, put it on the board, put it on the ballot, or the board. So we're not doing that either,
I
right?
don't believe this board wants to
think
put it
April.
on.
I just want to make sure, because in either of those two situations, we're on the ballot for March, there's a full load of work that needs to be done
Yeah.
between now and like January.
And then it
2nd.
may not pass.
And I'm
That's
too
what I just want to
afraid-
know. I'll do whatever you would tell me.
and I'm too afraid we might miss a T.
Yeah.
And uh-huh.
Hey, Greg, you started this conversation, so what's your opinion?
Well, to get it on the ballot, I would think it would have to be resident-driven to get on the ballot in March.
That makes an awful lot of sense to me. That's one of the options.
If the residents don't get out there to get the signatures and get something together before, very quickly here, then the next best alternative is to put it on the annual meeting.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay, I would entertain, or do you want to put a straw vote here real quick to see if you want me to approach them about putting a question for the annual town meeting?
Yes.
Straw vote. Dean?
Yes.
Brad, yes, okay. We're all unanimous in our decision.
Hopefully it passes.
We'll do that. Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
You're out of here.
Opposed?